Hey guys, my name is Travis Graham. Welcome to my channel. I've had some requests to do some videos on developing thickness of the back and how to do that naturally. And as natural lifters, we do need to be creative in order to exploit every ounce of genetic potential that we have within us. So in this video, I'm going to go over a few tips on things that I started to do. And when I did start to do these, it made a notable difference in the thickness of my back. Okay, so enjoy it. Let's get to it. Okay, tip number one, start rounding your back when you're doing back extensions and seated rows. Okay, most people think of the spinal erectors as just stabilizers for when you're doing squats and deadlifts and you can hit them like that, and that's true. But if check out Dorian Yates here, let me pause it, look at those. You would never just use isometrics. Now I love isometrics. That's one of my my top viewed videos is my video on how to do various types of isometrics, but you would never just do it. So I'm not recommending that you do this in a squat or a deadlift, but you do want to take that muscle safely through a range of motion to get the most out of it, okay? So the way I like to do this is on back extensions and seated rows. So this is how I do it on the back extension. Number one, I put the pad up so that my hips are fully supported, and then I'll use a dumbbell and I will reach forward to get a little bit of a lat stretch, and then I pull that in. Now when you're engaging the lats, that also keeps the lumbar spine quite safe. So here I am doing it with a seated cable row. Same thing, okay? Tip number two, multiple row heights. I'm not talking about multiple row angles, I'm talking about multiple row heights. So if you look what I'm doing here, there's a high row, okay? And you can also see how I'm separating the engagement of the shoulder blades versus the arms, okay? That's a medium height, and then a lower height will be, the lower you go, just think that the lower you go, the lower it goes down the back muscles that you're hitting. So the low row is typically for lats, okay? If I was gonna go back here, okay, that's gonna be upper traps, rhomboids. From here, a little bit lower traps, lower rhomboids, and then down in here is the row. So if you're looking for back thickness, you have to hit every possible height and angle of the back that you can, okay? So that's tip number two. Now, getting back to what I was saying about separating the shoulder retraction from the arm movement, from the row. I'm just going to call that retraction and rowing because they are two separate things. The muscles that do this shoulder retraction are going to be the rhomboids and traps. The muscles that do the rowing are going to be the lats and the rear deltoids. If you just look up the anatomy of that, that's the functional anatomy. That's what the lats and rear delts do. They actually take the arm into shoulder extension, whether it's horizontal extension or vertical extension, and the rhomboids and the traps do shoulder retraction, shoulder blade retraction. So whenever you're doing this, you want to make sure what do you want to hit, and if you're going for thickness, well, you just want to hit everything. So I make sure when I'm doing like a T-bar row or something like this, I completely separate it and I go 1, 2. Okay? So here's what it's going to look like if I don't do that and I don't focus, and I'm just going to pull with the lats. And a lot of people do this because the lats are going to be a bit more powerful than the shoulder blade retractors, right? So that's what it looks like if I'm just using the rear delts and the lats. And again, maybe you're doing that because it's what you want to go for, but a lot of the time people are using too heavy a weight to fully engage their shoulder blade retractors. So you want to get a thick back, make sure you're hitting those shoulder blade retractors, okay? Now, tip number three, can anyone tell me what that muscle is that's circled right now, okay? That muscle is called the infraspinatus, and it's part of your rotator cuff. The teres is in there too, but the infraspinatus, it's an external rotator of the shoulder, but look at where it sits on the body. It sits on your back, okay? So whenever you want to get a thicker back, these muscles are rarely trained for hypertrophy. They're normally not even thought of. They're just thought of as shoulder stabilizers when you're bench pressing or overhead pressing, right? So to hit the infraspinatus, and there's a supraspinatus, there's a subscapularis, and there's teres. That's the whole rotator cuff. We'll be talking about this one in particular, the infraspinatus. The way you want to hit that is with some sort of external rotation. Now, I like to hit it using the TRX, right, or a suspension strap. You can see that I'm taking my arms and I'm putting myself into the letter W there, okay? That is external rotation. I'll show you what it's looks like from the side versus like a rear delt fly, okay? So here it is from the side, okay? You can see I end up with my hands right up beside my head, right? Do one more rep here, Travis. Good, and hold. So it starts in front of me, and then it's in line with my body. See where my hand is here? Okay, now I want you to keep watching, and I'll show you what it looks like if you're not hitting that and you're probably hitting your rear delt instead. The hands start in the same place, but look at that, okay? Your hand is still in front of you though. So you just did a horizontal abduction, right? Which is the rear delt, the horizontal shoulder extension, okay? So it's not a bad thing. I did a whole video on how to use the TRX and how it keeps more tension on the muscle than a dumbbell does. But I'm just talking about, these are little tricks that you typically don't do. The last tip that you probably, maybe you do it, maybe you don't, is heavy ass deadlifts. Heavy ass deadlifts, not only for the amount of growth hormone and testosterone that heavy compound lifts produce, which gives you an overall thicker muscular body. The functional anatomy of it, well, let me go back here. The functional anatomy of it is that the muscles that we're just talking about are in a mid-range to maybe slightly eccentric isometric under a heavy load. And if you haven't seen my video on isometrics, I suggest you go watch that. There's a lot of good information in that. But essentially, a lot of local growth factors are released when you're just holding a weight that's extremely heavy. Okay? Not to mention it can turn into what's called a yielding isometric, where a little bit of length is being it's little bit of tear, but the load is so heavy that it does quite a lot of damage in a good way. Okay, so heavy ass deadlifts, you got to get that going. Okay, I know a lot of if you guys are just into bodybuilding, you might shy away from that, or if you've ever heard that deadlifts are bad for you, please drop that notion and get yourself a better coach. Anyways, guys, that's it. Those are my top tips for getting a thicker back naturally. I hope that you found it useful. Stay strong and free. If you found this video content helpful, then please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps me out. Thanks a lot, guys, for your time. Stay strong and free.